Macy Pate is my guest today, sophomore on the women's golf team at Wake Forest, off a recent appearance at the Augusta National Women's Amateur. And just before the ACC Championship gets underway at Sedgefield, Pate set the state record a few years back in high school by carding a 14 under 57 as a 16-year-old at the Central Piedmont 4A Conference Championships while attending Reagan and the 2024 ACC Freshman of the Year and All ACC selection. Macy's low round is a 69 this year with the Deacs. That includes two top 10 finishes and one inside the top five. Macy, welcome to Triad Sports One-on-One. We're happy to have you here, a local legend of sorts, connecting the dots after speaking to your head coach, Jay Allred, a few years back ahead of getting an old teammate of Morgan Ketchum on the program. But tell me, were you happy with the result at the Masters this past weekend with Rory McIlroy securing the career Grand Slam?
I was excited for him. He wasn't my initial pick. I was sort of pulling for Bryson. Me and my teammates kind of did like a little Masters fantasy pool, and I came in ninth out of 11. So it wasn't a great week for me, but I was happy for Rory at the end.
Oh, it is music to my ears to know that you, much like myself, are part of Team Bryson. I mean, I
Oh, I
am
am.
I am the captain of the Team Bryson fan club. I might
I
have some
love that.
competition though, with Macy Pate.
Yeah, you might have me. I don't watch a lot of golf, but
Okay.
I am a
Well,
fan.
well, tell me about how the love and attachment to the game of golf started, because I understand your two older brothers, Eli, the eldest, and then Connor, may have aided a competitive environment that helped to mold you for sure. But it was the bond with your father, Chris, that maybe most ignited the flame for you to pursue golf as more than just a hobby.
Yes, like you said, my brothers were always kind of anything was always a competition. They used to time me at how long it would take me to go get them a snack out of the kitchen, and I would always fall for it. I don't know why, but yeah, so I was just kind of following them around, playing whatever sports they were playing, especially Connor. Following him to watching him play basketball or run track and field. So I did both of those sports. And then my dad just started kind of taking me to the golf course. He started with letting me putt and then he would let me chip. And we just kind of worked our way up and I just kind of, fell into the obsession that most golfers have. And just started kind of, wanting to be out there more until they started, dropping me off and letting me stay all day or let me be by myself out there. And that's kind of when I was almost forced to fall in love with the game. Being out there by myself, how do I entertain? How does a 10-year-old entertain themselves at the golf course all day? So, making up contests with myself or playing with members was whenever golf became it for me.
Yeah, so cool. My daughter's 9, so I'm just I have kind of a comparison in terms of what you were doing and maybe what she isn't doing right now. But I did put a club into her hand
Love that.
as young as, gosh, might have been 2, 3 years old, but haven't
Yeah,
gotten her out yet this year. I need to get her new clubs because she's growing so fast. So,
exactly.
um,
It's tough.
how often are you and your father playing now? And then what courses were did you cut your teeth on prior to gaining this knowing that, hey, golf might I might have a future in this thing?
Yeah, so we don't get out for many rounds now. Not long after I started, he didn't really play much anymore. He kind of focused on me, but now I have a nephew, so he's got his first grandson, so he's all in loving that. So we don't get out much anymore, but we're constantly talking about golf. We were at lunch, yesterday with my family, and we're talking about how am I going to get better with my chipping. So I mean, it's always kind of what we're talking about and what we're thinking about. When I started, nobody's gonna know what this place is, but I started at a golf course called Willow Valley it's in Boone on the way towards Linville. It's just on the side of the road. It's a little par 3 course. The greens are awful. They maybe roll a 7. It's rough. And I started out, hitting driver from the red tees, and on every hole and not reaching the green. And so I was just out there with my dad playing, every weekend was kind of our whenever we started. And then I started kind of going to these junior clinics at Boone Golf Club, which is kind of the main public course in Boone. And like I said, I was out there every day at junior clinic, or then my parents started dropping me off there, from 8 to 5 in the summertime, which was never, it kind of got more serious for me.
Bermuda Run West was the course where you had set the NCH SAA 18-hole scoring record a
Mhm.
few years back in 2021. We've talked about your brothers. We've name dropped your father. I feel like Martha doesn't get enough credit here in this equation.
No,
I'm
she
she
doesn't.
she has to shoulder a lot of the responsibility and certainly a main fixture of your support system.
Yes, yes. My mom, she's always been, like you said, a big support system for me. She was a typical golf mom, giving me snacks on every hole, making sure I had a cold towel in the summer. And she would still do that now if I didn't do it all myself. Yeah, so she's the one who was kind of making sure everything worked smoothly. I had all my snacks. I had everything I needed to be able to play well that day. So yeah, she was kind of a big role in getting me to where I am today. And still, I mean, she caddied for me at a tournament last summer, so she's still out there with me.
That's sweet. Snacks critical, certainly, to the
Yes,
progress and
yes.
success on the links. You mentioned playing multiple sports. How was it that those experiences, as you look back, you feel have helped you in the game of golf and paved the way for where you are today at a premier institution with tremendous golf pedigree in Wake Forest?
Yeah, I wouldn't trade playing other sports for anything. You know, Settling on golf, I think, was always kind of what was in store for me. But playing those other sports just gave me so much perspective on, how to be a teammate and how to root for other people in this, super individualized sport. So, playing basketball, playing track, running track and field, having coaches, that didn't know, when I wasn't playing golf, they were, coaches in other sports are a little different than golf. They're a little bit tougher on you. They might yell at you a little bit. So, I mean, that kind of was what I was always used to. And then I got in the golf world and everything was just so much more calm because it was just you and you weren't really having to worry about things. And it was kind of interesting for me and something that's still kind of interesting. My older brother Connor, he coached me in basketball and running. And so, if I wasn't, doing something right or working as hard as I could, he was going to yell at me way more than any other kid. So, yeah, just those sports kind of, I think, made me kind of the athlete that I am. And then playing golf kind of was just, meant to be, I think.
I don't know if your college coach, Kim Llewellyn, is like Jay Allred, your high school coach at all, but I know he was all about the fun, right? Handing out Oreo cookies.
Yeah, yeah. It would always, you knew you'd messed up, you made a double or a triple, and then you'd be given a pack of Oreos. So it would lighten the mood a little bit.
A state champion while in high school, multiple Carolina Player of the Year awards, dozens of honors in total during a highly decorated prep career out of Pofftown, all paid off with interest from Wake Forest. When did you first learn of Wake's interest in you? Would have been well before that program's first national championship in May of 2023, just a couple of years removed. And how did that make you feel once Wake reached out?
Yeah, so on June 15th, when Kim reached out to me, Wake had always been my dream school from a very young age. I kind of set that as my goal and told my parents that, I was going to work towards Wake. And everybody kind of told me, well, that's a pretty big goal. Like maybe you should just chill out a little bit. But I knew I wanted to be here more than anything. So when Kim reached out to me on June 15th, was the first day that, you can be recruited as a rising junior in high school. We got on a call at 7 a.m. and I committed. So, I mean, I didn't talk to really anybody else. I was pretty dead set. I didn't go on any other visits. I knew this is where I wanted to be, and I think I made a great choice in that.
So this would have been June 15th, what, 2022 or 23? As a rising junior, meaning you completed your sophomore year and you were heading,
2022.
yeah,
Yes.
heading into
Yes.
your junior year at Reagan. Kim Llewellyn, who has won 6 ACC Coach of the Year awards, including 3 out of the last 6. What can you share about her pursuit of you and the relationship you've since been building since first teeing it up at Wake Forest? There was no hesitation on your part. I know that. It was part of your dream. But how
Yeah.
has she helped to engineer and orchestrate the relationship with you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she's the best. I mean, I can't really. asked for a better coach. Not only she's a coach, but she's like a mom to all of us. She likes to go shopping with us and hang out with us outside of golf. So I'd say, more than anything, like I said, she's like a mom, she's like a friend. We know we can all talk to her about anything. So she works really hard, and she pushes us to work hard, and pushes us all, probably a little bit outside of our comfort zone, which is exactly what you want in a coach. And yeah, she's just always striving for the best, which inspires each of us every day for sure.
So what's it like? The opportunity, the accompanied competition, playing for Llewellyn, for Wake Forest in the ACC on magnificent courses with the superb coaching and facilities, the training, the feedback, your teammates. Is it everything that you've dreamt that it would be to this point prior to the completion of your second year in school?
Yes, for sure. You know, I knew what Wake was about. I knew the facilities. I knew everything. But, every day I'm kind of amazed at everything that we have here. Every opportunity that we're given, like just the places that we get to go, the courses that we get to go, the experiences we get to have are all just, any golfer's dream. And we're super fortunate here to have all those opportunities and, have a facility that's 5 minutes from class. It's hard to not work hard here. It's hard to not enjoy yourself, and it's hard to not love golf here. So, yeah, we have a great time, and my teammates are my there's seven of us on this team, and the six other girls are my best friends. We're constantly, going out to dinner or hanging out outside of golf. And then we get to go compete together and win together, and it's the best thing.
Is that camaraderie and to the relationship of how Kim is kind of like one of the girls loves to go out and shop and all those sort of things. Is that tightness really one of the best parts about this team? Really, the synergy, the chemistry, and the way you all come together, both on
Yes.
the course and away.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely the best thing about this team. We can go out and win together, and we can go eat dinner, and we can celebrate and have a great time. We can also go out and lose together and still go have a great time. We push each other like every single day. I'll quote Jay. We had a good high school team, and he would always tell us, iron sharpens iron. And we were pushed every single day in that. And then I came to school where, I'm playing with five other people that are just as good, if not all better than me. And they're pushing me every day to be better. They're pushing me to work harder. And it's an honor to be on a team with these girls.
Let's go back to a couple of weeks ago, the Augusta National Women's Amateur, which premiered in 2019 and was won by Wake Forest's own Jennifer Cupcho at the time. First two rounds were held at Champions Retreat. Unfortunately, after back-to-back rounds of 72, you just narrowly missed out on the cut before the event's concluding third round moved to Augusta National on Saturday. But you and the entire field still were able to participate in a practice round on Friday, April 4th at Augusta National, the site of the Masters, which just concluded with Rory winning. What was that entire experience like for you at two, while only a practice round, still being able to swing it at the Mecca?
Yeah. ANWA was something that I've been dreaming of, for, since the first edition. It was always a dream. It was something that I felt like I had the potential to play in, but it was never something that I knew I would be there. Um, and I don't know if it really settled, sunk in that I was there until I showed up on site. You get there, you're treated like a tour player. Um, you know, you're signing autographs, you're doing all this stuff that you don't really see in college golf. Um, you're standing around with, the top 71 players in the world. So I mean, it was just really cool. The whole week, I was really just trying to take it all in. I played two really solid rounds, and one shot. I mean, that's golf. I can think of seven different times that one shot could have been avoided, and I would have been, playing on Saturday. Um, but I've told people, if you would have told me, hey, will you take 72-72 at Champions Retreat? Would you do it? I would say yes every single time. I mean, it's a super tough golf course, super long. And when you step on site, you feel this sense of like, I got to make the cut. And you feel this sense of like, I can't miss a golf shot. And so you have to really kind of get those things out of your head and pretend like it's any other golf tournament, and that you're not trying to play Augusta National on Saturday. So I mean, it's super tough, but when it ended, I can't wait to be back next year and have the opportunity to play again and play champions again and hopefully play Augusta on a Saturday.
And the affectionate shorthand for Augusta National Women's Amateur. The event was established, according to their website, quote, to inspire greater interest and participation in the women's game by creating a new, exciting, and rewarding pathway for these players to fulfill their dreams, which brings me to the state of women's sports and women's golf. Take this in whichever direction you'd like to go. I know you're a massive advocate for the growth of the sport and women's sports in general. Do you believe the Augusta National Women's Amateur has done that? And how would you describe the state of women's sports currently, especially golf at this stage?
Yeah, I think the Augusta National Women's Amateur is doing, probably the best job of anything out there right now to improve the game and get more girls into golf. I mean, when you walk off the golf course, like I said, there's kids lined up waiting for you to sign autographs. And not just little girls. I mean, little boys too. That they they can you can tell that they look up to you. They've been following you all day. And I mean, I'm out there and I'm like, there's no way this kid knows who I am. But they know that you're playing in Anwa and they know that there's something big with that. And I just try to put myself in their shoes. I was there once and I've watched, older players play and been kind of, looking up to them and hoping to be like them. I mean, I competed against several of them last week. So it's really cool to kind of see those little kids out there that are so excited for this, so excited to watch. And even watching on Saturday, there's so many little girls that know everyone's name, know where everyone goes to school, and you can tell that these, the college players really have a big impact on them, which is really cool to see.
That's super special. And I would imagine, too, there's a part for you being on that other side of the fence as one who was little, looking up to these players and these women at some point and knowing how they treated you when you were young or the way that you had wanted them to embrace you or give you some sort of attention or acknowledgement, whether it's autographs or a smile or a picture or just a wave, whatever it may be. You're now on that other side. You're the focal point, and all these other little ones are running up to you. So in a way, it's kind of come full circle where you're giving back to the game in the way the game once gave to you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, having the opportunity just to inspire the next generation in golf is really the best thing I could ask for. If there's one little girl that saw me and for some reason liked me for whatever I did, that's the best thing that I could have done last week, aside from making the cut, missing the cut, winning the golf tournament or not. I mean, inspiring the next generation is the best thing we can do as golfers and especially college golfers.
Next up for you this week is the ACC Women's Golf Championship back at Sedgefield Country Club for the 12th time. What are your goals for Greensboro this week and what will be 3 days of stroke play starting on Wednesday, April 16th, before match play commences on Friday?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this week a lot, getting back into postseason. It's such a fun time of the year. This is what we train for all year long and we're finally here. So it's exciting. Next week I'm just looking to put 3 good rounds together in stroke play and then hopefully, give myself a chance to win the individual title. But the big focus is on the team. Last year we won, so it would be awesome to win back to back. We have Stanford and SMU are there, so we got a little bit more competition this year. So it's gonna be tough, but we're excited. So our coaches have been at Sedgefield a lot, so they know the golf course and we feel like we've got a good plan going in.
Yeah, it's kind of like a home match in a lot of
Yeah.
respects, certainly for Wake Forest. Yet, as we spoke about prior to me hitting record, and I love the nerdy details of all this. Y'all talk about the camaraderie and building the chemistry. Y'all get to spend the week at a house, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna leave today. One of my teammates' birthdays is in a few days, so we're gonna have a little birthday dinner tonight at the Cheesecake Factory. And then we'll go to our house and hang out and unpack, and we'll bring some games. We'll bring some poker and some other kind of Cards Against Humanity, some fun games like that, and we'll play and have fun and just enjoy. Staying in a house is the best thing. It's my favorite. Those are my favorite weeks when you get to hang out and stay together like that. It's always a lot of fun.
Can't go wrong with Cheesecake Factory, no doubt.
Oh
Friendly
no.
Center, know it well. Of course,
Yep.
too. I'm sure you've experienced, right? You've got to be. I mean, certainly, in years past, but throughout your youth. I mean, Sedgefield Country Club, home to the Wyndham. I mean, this is high level stuff, and of course, too, that I'm sure. What would be your assessment of the course, and how familiar are you of it?
Yeah, I actually have not played Sedgefield. I've been out there. I actually watched Wake a few years ago, play, I think in a semifinal match. So I can remember all the holes. Like I said, I've never played it. I just know what kind of my coaches have told me and how they've helped us kind of prepare this week. They don't, I've heard they don't play it super long. So I'm kind of looking forward to being able to attack a little bit more, especially after champion retreats. It's super long, so we've got a little bit of the opposite. But I think pretty firm greens. I mean, it's a championship golf course, so I think it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to kind of being close to home. We'll have a lot of fans there, and they're loud, so it's always a good time.
Few more minutes with Macy Pate, sophomore on the Wake Forest women's golf team here on Triad Sports One on One. How far are you hitting it off the tee? Give listeners some perspective for how far you can swing it off the tee box.
Yeah, I hit my driver. I mean, I probably carry my driver like 235 ish, like rolls out to like 255, 260, depending on how firm it is.
Sure. What how would you characterize your game in terms of biggest strengths and what you feel like you're constantly working on the most? And maybe it's not as much as those who golf, and we all have, I feel like in some kind of novice realm. I mean, I try to play once a week at least throughout the summer, and I'm
Yeah.
barely cracking 90. But still, yeah, it's the mental aspect of it.
Yeah.
So what is it? Where do you feel like you're most strong, and where do you feel like you're constantly trying to, needle and tweak and get better at?
Yeah, I would say my biggest strength is probably my ball striking. I tend to hit a lot of greens, which is nice to have opportunities. But I'm mostly am always working on my short game. That's kind of my biggest thing that I'm always working on. Um, yeah, recently I've been working on my chipping a lot, trying to get up and down more.
Do
Shout
you
out
have
to my dad.
Yeah, that's where it all began. Any
Yeah.
rituals or superstitions?
Hmm. Not I'm not the most superstitious. I used to be, but I've really tried to get out of it. I'll always kind of use a ball marker that's meaningful to me in some way. I have a lot of different ones, but I'll usually use one that's somehow meaningful.
Do you have
But
a
that's kind of
do you have a favorite golf movie?
Happy Gilmore,
Okay,
of
thank you.
course,
I mean, from
of
Team
course.
Bryson to Happy Gilmore, I think we should just end on that right
Yeah,
there. Finally, this
of
season, I,
course.
I know an ACC title and national championship is the ultimate prize. You're most locked into securing now, but long term, what is it you most want out of your golf career and in the future after you depart from Wake Forest? I know you don't want to look too far ahead. You want to be present, but will Macy Pate one day be in contention for a major championship in the LPGA?
Yeah, I mean that would be the dream. After school, I hope to turn pro and play for 8 to 10 years, depending on kind of life and everything. But yeah, that's always kind of been my dream to be able to play on tour amongst people I've always looked up to and hopefully be someone that little girls can look up to themselves and like you said, being in contention in a major championship on the LPGA would be a dream come true for me.
That's awesome. Macy, you've been fabulous today. Wishing you all the best this week at the ACC Women's Golf Championship as Wake Forest aims for a fourth title in the last 7 years and what should be a seventh consecutive NCAA tournament berth as well. All the best the rest of the season, Macy.
Thank you so much.